Now, more stories, insights, and analysis of Illinois policy and politics. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute. Once again, your host, AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Eric Kohn, marketing manager for the Illinois Policy Institute on this edition of Illinois Rising. And Eric, we're talking about sawing sawdust with respect to the AFSCME contract. We could say the same thing about the budget, and we were all subjected to more bad budget dinner theater this past week between the governor and legislative leaders, and I used that description leader in quotation marks. We're just kind of sawing sawdust here, too. We might as well just everybody go home, stop paying attention, stop paying state legislators, tell them not to show up, and we're just going to do a rerun of 16 and 18, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Governor Rauner had just recently announced that he was going to cancel future budget meetings until Democrats actually produce a budget proposal. Which is a kind of wild idea that if we're going to debate over what the budget should look like, okay, well, pony up.
Well, and importantly, not like the one Madigan produced previously, which was $7 billion out of balance. One of those budget proposals where the expected spending is no more than the expected revenue. We call these things a balanced budget. Other states have them. We're not so keen on them.
Well, Illinois is just special that way, I guess. So, Mike Madigan comes out of one of the last meetings that they had, and like you said, yes, sawing sawdust. We're saying the same things over and over again, and talking about Governor Rauner holding the budget hostage, quote, to help his wealthy friends and large corporations.
Standard issue Democrat class envy politics.
Absolutely. But what occurred to me is, okay, so can we talk about Mike Madigan and his wealthy friends and the large corporations that have been financing him, and including, as we've talked about before, the public sector unions in this state? Don't want to talk about those guys, do we?
Well, the other thing about it is, right, that's the big lie. Like, this is about helping your wealthy friends. I mean, the wealthy don't need the help. That's not, the wealthy have, they have a home here, but they're domiciled in Florida where there's no state income tax for 181 days of the year to establish residency, or they're somewhere else, but they keep a footprint in Chicago, or they otherwise protect their assets because they have a phalanx of lawyers and accountants to properly shield their money from tax implications. The wealthy don't need the help. That's why this is the biggest lie of all. They don't need Rauner's help, and they don't need Madigan's help. They got to figure it out. You know who needs the help? Is the median income household in Illinois. The family of four with a $52,000, $53,000, $55,000 household income. And they're getting blitzed. And that's why you see the out-migration, as we've talked about in this show. It's not, wealthy seniors who want to go somewhere warm. That's all it is. No, it's not. It's millennials who are looking for their first job and young families that are working their way up the corporate ladder and can't make it make sense, can't make ends meet if they stay in Chicago or the metropolitan area. And even, and then you get central and southern Illinois, as you know, Eric, then it's job opportunities that don't exist. So it's a big lie on so many levels that everything Rauner is proposing is for the worker, is for the middle income family that's trying to aspire up the ladder. It's not for wealthy friends or wealthy corporations. It's a joke.
Yeah, absolutely. And often in defending the idea that, well, the only solution or that the obvious solution to a lot of these people is we just need to raise taxes. Well, yeah, it turns out, as you mentioned there, that the people they keep talking about with the quote-unquote ability to pay, they're also the same people with the ability to leave. And forgotten, left behind in all of this are the people for whom moving interstate, I've done it a couple times in the last couple of years. It's an expensive prospect. They are the ones that this should all be about, the ones that it would be a burden for them to consider leaving, and it's a burden for them to stay. And they're stuck in this position by no real fault of their own.
And I've referenced it before, but I want to be explicit about it. You're from Southern Illinois, Belleville area. What's Southern Illinois like today versus when you were growing up 20 years ago?
Go drive through Belleville, which is the town that I'm from. The west end of Belleville has been hollowed out. Businesses have been closing. People have been leaving. It's not the same community that it was. It has been a slow progression of this over 30 years. And it's sad to see, a community that I grew up in and that I enjoyed so much. And, even just on the micro level there, the way that the city of Belleville is run compared to, say, how the city of O'Fallon right next door or Fairview Heights right next door, there's business, there's commerce, there's more affordable home prices. And on the west end of Belleville, it's hollowed out. People are gone because people get this, especially when it's not, interstate moving we're talking about, when it's moving one town over to lower your burden, to get a better run city, to get one that doesn't turn the screws on you quite as much. It's a no-brainer.
And that's why we need a sense of urgency about it, why we need to precipitate the revolt that we saw happen in the rest of the country outside of the coast and Illinois. We've got to precipitate the revolt that is bubbling below the surface but is looking for a spokesman, and I don't think we've figured it out yet.